What? What? What if we have so many events? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10? Alright, yeah, so first off with Kiseki. Kiseki is essentially Ogre Cap. Like, she is Ogre Cap, but she has 20% power, 10% wit, and like a couple of different skills. Her ultimate is anytime during the late race, if you are 4th place or higher. Oh, sorry, and there was another like Uma behind you. At the last 300 meters, you get that 0.45 acceleration. So you can use this inherit on a front runner. Like, this is a Ogre Cap's ultimate, but for front runners, right? Because this gives you that 0.25 increased target speed. So anytime you see like Ogre Cap being recommended, you can also run Kiseki's ultimate as a inherit to pull up or to pick up, while also it being extended to the person in first place. So Kiseki has a really good, as a pretty decent parent. And when I say she's Ogre Cap, like, but slightly different, is that she has Big Sisterly instead of Corner Connoisseur. Big Sisterly is better than Corner Connoisseur, but it is locked to just Miles. But this also allows her to be used in Miles because you do have that target speed increase. And then finally, she has Race Planner instead of Gourmand, which if you have like the Special Wake event card, you could pick up Gourmand from there and stack even more recovery skills, but I don't know if you would ever need 3 recovery skills on her. But this allows you to use Race Planner and swing in Maestro as a pace chaser. So she's pretty good. Like, I think I have her rated as a like A tier, A minus tier. She's just, oh, she can't run dirt though. It's a lot harder to make her run dirt, and I mean, you should be able to get the long sparks for long, but she can't run dirt like Ogre can. But otherwise, she's just very similar to Ogre Cap. So, like, anywhere you see Ogre Cap be good, Kiseki is probably also good, besides dirt. Alright, next up, we have the supporter card from it. I'm only going to talk about the SSRs, so it would be too long to talk about the SRs. We have Mejiro Ryan Guts. It's a Guts card. You're not really picking... I mean, you're not going to pull on it. She does give Unyielding, which isn't that good. A lot of the times on medium races, the final corner is where you are still accelerating. So maybe you could like see this used when you're accelerating past somebody, but it's just not that great as a gold skill, so I wouldn't even see this as a borrow. She does give you, up tempo, wet conditions, medium straightaways. I don't know. I just don't think this is a good card. I think it's pretty apparent. Like, it's a Guts card. Unyielding isn't the best. Like, you're not gonna use up one of your supporter card slots for a Guts card. Like, I mean, you've seen people in the CM try to run it with, winning ticket, and I think it just gimps you too much to try to pick up something, especially when, it's a speed skill like this and not even like an acceleration skill to gamble on. During the Fuji Kiseki and the Mejiro Ryan banner, we should be getting the Trasin Academy special, like the Master Trainers Road missions. And I mean, it just gives you like, it's like completing random missions, like having a certain gold skill, reaching cumulative scores, doing certain things, like finishing with a certain rank. It's just like tutorial stuff. The main rewards that everyone will talk about in this missions is the 300 carats, and also the guaranteed 2-star Uma, and the random 3-star make debut ticket. Keep in mind, this is the make debut tickets, so this will only be the starter Umas. So the 9 Umas, the 9 3-stars that came out at the start of the game, I don't know the list off the top of my head, but those are the ones you can pick. Like, the people that you could have picked with that picker ticket from the week missions, you can use this 3-star make debut ticket. And this released on the Japanese server at the exact same time as the Kiseki banner. So this should be somewhere in there. So yeah, hopefully you can get like Maruzensky, Taiki Shuttle. Actually, most of the original cast is pretty useful. Sorry, like half of the original cast is pretty useful. So it's a little hard to say, but next up, also during the Kiseki banner, we have something called the special transfer system. I think the... Okay, I do have it up. The reference sheet has a pretty good explanation of it, but this allows you to like sell certain umas that fit a certain criteria. So like, for example, winning a specific graded race with a aptitude of a certain like letter, like B or higher, getting a specific stat to D or higher, things like that. And generally you can get a bit of money, a bit of supporter points, and then I think 15 pieces. It takes 27 umas to fulfill all the, or like 27 veterans to fulfill all of the conditions, but in total you get about 15 star fragments. You could also just ignore the money and the supporter points events because you only get the star pieces from that, like that big recruitment. The other ones just give you like money and supporter points. Ignore the hint books; those aren't out yet. But the main thing is like that 5 training pieces, and you can't use these 5 training pieces to get an Uma that you don't already own, because like you have to obviously own the Uma to get a veteran of it. So all this really does is just let you get 15 pieces to 4-star, 5-star Umas, or maybe get that 3-star, like 15 pieces to 3-star one of the lower rated Umas. No, it's called like trainer exchange, special transfer. You're not shipping them off to an overseas glue factory. This event becomes permanent at the 6th scenario, I think, or no, the 2.5 anniversary. Is that the 6th scenario or the 7th scenario? It gets permanent later, but we get this like once a month until then. Yeah, so those are the ones that, those are things that are probably not on this calendar during the Kiseki banner. Next up, we have, you know, Gold City. I'm not going to talk about rerun banners, but we have Gold City. Gold City is a late surger. She is just a gambler, but she has a mid-race speed up or anchors away, if you will, anytime after the 50% rate. You can also try to use this for speed carryover, which is, you know, being able to use this 0.25 target speed when you get to the acceleration zone, so you can start your acceleration 0.25 higher than if you started at your base top speed, which helps a little bit. It helps more when you like stack a whole bunch of these, but any little bit helps. And this activates whenever you're 7th to 4th and you overtook somebody. So it's pretty easy to proc unique. The issue right now is that on your left is 6th place or lower. So if you proc this mid-race skill and then go too far up to proc on your left, it's a little bit weaker. So she is somewhat good. Also, a keen eye is not a good skill. You don't need a gold recovery in a mile track. So she's not like good now, but she eventually becomes like a pretty like decent late surger. In talking about buffs, Keen Insight eventually also siphons current speed from people in front of you, so it becomes like a debuff skill on miles. So this makes it a little bit better, or this makes Gold City a little bit better. And then on your left eventually turns into 4th place or lower, and anytime during the first half of the acceleration phase. So like, you know, it halves the window that on your left could misfire in. I guess it'd be more than, yeah, it halves the window that on your left could trigger, so you should have a higher chance of triggering it when you actually need acceleration. So it gets a little bit better once the 1st anniversary comes around and these skills get updated. That's basically everything about Gold City. Like, she will be better. I mean, late surgers in general will be better once on your left gets fixed to be 4th place or lower and not 6th place or lower. And Keen Eye just does nothing because it's a recovery on a mile. So I, like, meta-wise, you know, 20% guts, she's not that strong right now, but she's fine once her skills get fixed. But yes, that's during Mant, though. So that's why also, like, I'm kind of iffy on recommending pulling on Nice Nature Wit, because, like, by the time I will be running late surgers with it, outside of Miles, I will probably just use my selector ticket on Nice Nature Wit at the 1st anniversary. But yeah, right now on your left sucks. Like, this skill is so bad. But you still have to gamble on it, because there's, like, otherwise there's just no way you can win. Alright. And then also during Gold City's banner, we should be getting Chapter 4. Gold City on the Japanese server released July 19th, and then the story also released July 19th. So when it drops, we should be getting that story card. And the main thing to talk about is this Narita Bryan SSR speed card. You should be able to get it up to level 45. It's 3,000 crowns to get it up to level 45. The main takeaway here is that she has a unique effect that increases speed gain, and then she also has a speed bonus. So while yes, the 30% friendship bonus and the 5% training effectiveness and like the 0 mood effect kind of sucks. If she lands on the speed training facility with another speed card, which is kind of hard with only 35 specialty priority and 0 friendship gauge. Actually, I guess you don't need the rainbow for the speed gain training, but if she lands on it with other speed cards, like it's a lot of speed that you train because of the 2 speed bonus. You know, there's like essentially 2 facility levels if she lands there. I said this earlier in the stream, but I think she's like a tier below, half a tier below the SR speed cards. So like Eishin Flash, Narita Taishin, and King Halo. Like if you have those max limit broken, you probably don't need to run Narita Bryan. For support hints, she just has a lot of medium stuff and some long stuff. So she has medium straightaways, medium corners. She has Hydrate for pace chasers, preferred position, which goes into race planner, and then right-handed. She does have a little bit of hint levels and a little bit of hint frequency. So it shouldn't be that hard to hit the hints. It's just the matter of getting the correct hint that you actually want. Unfortunately, her skill is shatterproof, like her gold skill is shatterproof. And this is, if you are a pace chaser, anytime during the mid-race, if you were 6th place or lower, as a pace chaser, you increase acceleration. Not only is fulfilling these conditions like really bad, you also just don't want a acceleration increase in the mid-race. Like it's very rare that you'll actually be able to use this. This is a really bad gold skill. She does also give you Lone Wolf off of this random event if you don't want the stats from here. And then she has a -10 energy. She has 2 -10 energies, which kind of sucks, but like as a speed training card, she's good. So if you just don't have the support deck, like you kind of just have to run this, which kind of sucks. But that's going to be released sometime during Gold City. The Cancer, once again, this October 7th date, that is the day of registrations. So the actual event will be 3 days later. So it's going to be the 10th to the 16th. There's usually like, there's going to be the days of registration at the beginning. So 7th is not round 1, essentially. October 7th is not round 1. So you still have a couple more days, but it looks like it's going to be, I mean, I guess technically it's mid-October. Would you consider the second week mid-October? I mean, finals is mid-October. So I guess they weren't lying. All right, next up, we do have to talk about Summer Maruzensky and Special Week, and then the 2 supporter cards that comes out during it. So it does look like you can sweat out a Summer Maru before the finals, and Summer Maru is probably better than both Smart Falcon and Bakshin, so that's going to be rough. Summer Maruzensky, the reason why she is right now going to be the best front runner is because you saw how if you like do these practice rooms, you can see how like Bakshin and Smart Falcon are usually the ones that can maintain first place. And that's because Summer Maruzensky will join that group because these 3 all have a mid-race velocity skill. So A Kiss of Courage is a 5-second target speed increase of 0.35. Sorry, I just completely blanked totally. Smart Falcon has a ultimate that increases her target speed by 0.25. So this is on average, half a meter more. Or not on average. It's half a meter more and then times the length of the track course. So the conditions is that any time after the 50% race, and the activation here for activate count heal is greater than or equal to 1, just means that you activated at least 1 recovery skill during the race. So any time after the halfway point, because you can either activate a heal prior to it to guarantee that you activate it at the 50% mark, or you can have a heal like what she has in her kit, 777s, to activate the speed carryover in a more favorable spot. And then it's just whenever she is top 3. So she doesn't, like, generally she should be top 3. Your Summer Maru should be built well enough that she is top 3. So yeah, so you can activate it exactly at the halfway point by triggering something like Restless really early on an uphill, or you can try to time her ultimate with like Swinging Maestro on a corner, or 777s, 777 meters before the final race. So this makes Summer Maruzensky very strong, and she will probably be the strongest frontrunner, for the next 4 months after she is out. Obviously, Restless is a gold skill. This is really good, because it's really hard to get the skill unless you run a Guts card on a frontrunner. So, this plus Swinging Maestro makes her very dominant in mediums and longs. Well, not dominant, but able to go to mediums and longs because she has a recovery skill inside her potentials. She also has Speed Eater, which, Speed Eater is good. It's a mid-race target speed increase and a debuff for the the 5 Umas behind you, which are generally front runners. So, like, this is a pretty decent one for Miles. And then she has, Mile Maven, which probably isn't the best to grab. You can still use it like early race. It's just very expensive. But like she has 2 skills stuck in Mile, but this Restless allows her to also branch out to mediums and longs. The main thing is this ultimate where it's just really hard to overtake somebody who owns a mid-race velocity skill if you're like, someone like Mihono Bourbon Original, Saiyan Sky Original, or, Silent Suzuka Original. So I do think Summer Maru will be very strong. Well, not think. She is very strong outside, like once she releases. Summer Maruzensky is the start of like the more dominant frontrunners, but the main thing is that Summer Maruzensky is super annoying to build because you don't own that. You don't own those green skills, so she's a lot harder to build. But obviously, if somebody sweats it out, then it's going to be a lot rough. But yeah, you can see here, Smart Falcon is a 0.25 for 5 seconds. Sakura Bakushin also has that 0.35 for 5 seconds, but her conditions are a little harder because you have to be blocking on the side for 2 seconds. Whereas Maruzensky, you can pretty much time when you want it to activate. That's why, this is a little bit better than Bakushin. She could also actually run mediums and longs. I think you'll have a hard time trying to get a Bakushin on a medium and a long. But she is very meta. Once again, frontrunners are always meta. It's just, do you have the time to sweat it out? All right, next up we have Special Week Summer. Special Week Summer is generally ran as a late surger. She has a recovery skill and a target speed increase attached to her ultimate if you've activated 2 skills mid-race. In between 2nd place and 7th place. So she can also be ran as a pace chaser. She has It's On, Tail Held High, and Fast and Furious in her skills. She's generally ran as a late surger, not really because of her skills. I guess she can be ran as pace chaser because she does have the recovery skill. You can kind of flip-flop between it. I think I more so see Special Week Summer ran as late surger. Like, most people spend the time to build her as late surger. But I guess you can build her as pace chaser. There's not really anything that, forces her into late surger. But Fast and Furious works. Random time during the mid-race, you get a target speed increase. It's just really expensive for a pretty, mediocre skill. So I probably wouldn't... Maybe, if you pulled her, you could see her as you can use her as a pace chaser until she's a little stronger. I think when I didn't go over evolve skills, but when she gets evolve skills, she gets her evolve skill only works as late surger, so that's why you see her more so built for late surger. But I think you can just drop Fast and Furious and run her as pace chaser if you wanted to do that instead until the skill evolutions come out. But I think there's not really much to talk about Special Week. She doesn't have On Your Left or Fury. She doesn't have On Your Left in her kit, so she's a little harder to build without Nice Nature Wit. So you might have to run her as pace chaser until you can get On Your Left if you want to run her on late surger. Let's go ahead and go over and talk about the supporter cards. So we have the Sweep Tosho supporter card and the Winning Ticket supporter card. Sweep Tosho is actually really good. These stats are really good for a speed card. It's just, it's only... The main issue is that a level 30 version is just not better than the SR version. So you want it like pretty high limit broken. You want it at like level 45, level 50. And with the new scenario, you know, coming out in 2 banners, it's really hard for me to recommend it. She also has no initial friendship gauge. Aoharu, you aren't generally clicking on supporter cards for friendship gauge. You have to chase these things called spirit explosions. So it's gonna be really hard to get her to that 80 bond level. And the final issue, my final issue with this card, outside of those two, is that she has Crusader as her skill, which, like, you don't really want field of view increases. Even if it did have an effect, it is so much more important to get velocity skills or recovery skills as your gold skill from your card. So Crusader just feels really bad. Her events are fine, you know, you can get straightaway Spirit from her top event. I don't know what the percentage chances is for this one. You can just gamble with her. You can get 1 mood, you can get 10 energy, or you can lose it. She also has another 10 energy in her event here, and then she still has that Charming event that she shares with SR Sweep Tosho. But I just think that this card is just, you know, not worth pulling on. But I think it is strong. I just don't think it's going to be strong in the next couple of months. I think the main thing is that, like, unless you got it max limit broken, you're better off just running the SR Sweep Tosho. But it does let you gamble a guaranteed straightaway Spirit. We have Winning Ticket, which is a Stam card. It comes with a Guts bonus and a Stam bonus. You don't really care about the Guts bonus, though. It's not that great. Like, at level 30, you got 1 copy of it. Level 50, like, it does a little bit more. It has really high initial friendship gauge. The main issue is it has 0 specialty priority. So it's kind of hard to train with it. She does give you Hard Worker, which I personally don't like as an ability. You get acceleration when you overtake somebody. And I think this is just really hard to time for the last spurt. There's almost no, like, unless you're running 0, actually, even if you're running 0 mid-race velocity skills, like, sometimes you will just pass somebody because maybe they low-rolled a wit check positioning and you just accidentally overtake them. I don't know, it's just annoying that, like, this doesn't have, like, it's just 5 seconds after, so it can realistically happen anytime. You can end the event, I think, right? Yeah, you can end the event and get Maverick. But I just don't think it's that great. Alright, what else is there? Oh, right, the story event. We have the Daiwa Scarlet power card. I mean, it's a power card. You're not realistically using them. It has, I think, 10% training effectiveness, 1 power bonus, 20 specialty priority, and 25% rainbows. It's not a bad power card. The main thing is that it gives you race planner. It's just awkward running a power card, because, like, the only times you use recovery skills is mediums and longs. And it's awkward trying to slot in a power card on a medium and a long track. So it's a little bit worse in the sense, you know, at least Special Week was a speed card, so you can use that if you need Gourmand. It also, you know, has the same issue as every event card, essentially. It has a random chance to activate. In medium races, you could probably use this Daiwa Scarlet with like Rico Rice. Sorry, not Rico Rice, with Rice Shower. Like, you can probably run power cards in the second scenario if you have, you know, both this card and are like borrowing a max limit broken Rice Shower, because you'll just cope that you'll be able to use 2 golds on the medium track and try to train Stam through power and inheritances. So it has some use. Like, I don't think it's a bad card. It's just slightly awkward to try to fit into a deck unless you're, like, running, you know, the Rice Shower. So I don't think it's bad. Like, I don't think you should cleat it, but it just has, like, a use in some decks if you're able to borrow, like, a max limit broken Rice Shower. All right, what's next? That's the entire event. Same rewards as this event. Same bingo stuff. Just click the button. All right, now we can talk about the 21st for Meisho Doto. I actually forgot what I had talked about her. She's a base chaser. Just 20% stam, 10% guts. Looks like, yeah, she might be able to be built late, but I don't think she wants to be built late. She gets acceleration, I think, in the late race, right? If you overtook somebody. So it's kind of like a win more. You kind of need acceleration from something else to try to pass somebody. But this is pretty good. It's just as long as you're passing somebody. So pace chaser, late surger. Especially if you're like, I think it's easier as a pace chaser because, you know, front runners, whoever, it's a feast or famine, whoever is first place is the one that actually gets to run, whereas every other front runner dies. So Meisho Doto definitely feasts on those dying front runners because this is guaranteed to activate during the late race. Wait, okay, the description says that it has to be on a corner, but this one does not. So I don't know about that, but it's in the late race. If you pass somebody, you'll get the acceleration and the target speed increase, which is really good. It's a pretty bad inherit. Any of these dual effect inherits are not that great. But I guess, like, you know, people are inheriting Pasa, and that works. But so you could look at this as an inherit as well for that 0.1 acceleration, but it's not going to be like as strong as something like Redshift or Shooting for Victory. Let me double check this thing, because it says it has to be on a corner, but I don't see that. Okay, maybe it's a corner to start, and then they upgrade the ultimate. I don't know. I'm getting confused by Game Tora. But I think she's good. Like, I think I had rated her B+. Yeah, I rated her as a B+. It's not a gambling unique. I think that's kind of wrong. I think when I said it's gambling unique is kind of wrong. I think it's more so a win more unique. Like, you need another acceleration skill on top of this. And like the issue is, you know, if you don't start acceleration during the final corner, it's hard to use something like let's use CM4 for example. Like Redshift and Shooting activate all the way over here. And so you want something like Let's Pump Some Iron. You want an acceleration skill that activates right away so you're able to pass somebody. Or you can try to do some speed carryover stuff. Like you can try to proc velocity skills prior to the acceleration to try to pass somebody. But she's just not rated that high because it's a little hard to try to pass somebody when everyone's accelerating. But I still think she's like B+, viable is the word I want to say. I am not ready to talk about the half anniversary celebration one. I don't even know what's in it. So let's go searching. I think the stories get added. So there'll be episodes to watch throughout the anniversary. But no, you don't get the ticket on this one. You get the ticket on the last one. Okay, we can look at the mission rewards though. You get so the events are usually just like win careers. These do have an end date, but the end date's like a month after. So you'll have like a month to do all these events. The first one is 500 carats and 3 scout tickets. And it's just like doing careers, completing objectives, and doing team trials. On the actual half anniversary, we'll get the second set of missions, and this comes with the Silent Suzuka stamp card. I won't talk about this because I don't think we have part 2 ready yet. That should be around when, actually a little bit before the Rico Rice card. Or yeah, Rico Rice banner. The last event starts, the last one starts on that Rico Rice release date. This is when Araharu gets released. It's not exactly at the half date. And this is where you get that selector ticket. So this one will be next month. But there's usually more stuff, but it looks like neither of these Wikipedia pages I have talk about the other stuff. But usually there's like, you know, login stuff. There's other stuff during it. Like there'll be logins. I don't think there was daily polls on the first celebration. What part does the free polls fall on? Free polls start on Eishin Flash. So you'll get 8 pulls on Eishin Flash, and then you'll get 10 pulls on Rico Rice. Will Araharu come out during Leo Cup? Well, I mean, I think I have it estimated for it, but most likely they'll just delay the Rico banner until after. Actually, I don't know, because I thought Summer Maruzensky wasn't going to be out during the Cancer Cup, so maybe they'll just release a scenario during it. That sounds stupid. The free 10 pull will get you max limit break Rico. Okay, so the half anniversary happens the paid gacha happens at the half anniversary, so it's not during round 1. It'll be a week after. We have the Legend Race. Won't really go too much into that. It's just Mejiro Orion, Suzuka, and Gold Ship. And then we can real quick talk about Flash and Nice nature wit. So what do I rate Flash? A C plus tier. Yeah, so Flash is a medium long distance runner with a 20% wit, 10% power, which are the two of the harder stats to train during mediums and longs. Her skill essentially says that if you are third place or lower during the final straight, your speed will increase and you'll get increased bonus speed if you were 4th to 7th place during the middle race. And also you can't rush. But then after you fulfill all of those conditions, you can get that top speed increase of 5 seconds for the 0.45. It's a little harder to say it's Ogre, but different. It's like, I think Ogre is a little easier to fulfill. This one, like, you have to be exactly 4th to 7th. You can't rush. And then you can't be top 2 on the last straight. It's not bad, but definitely when, like, it's harder conditions to fulfill than like Ogre, Cap, and Kiseki. She has a lane movement skill, which lets you reposition during the late race. This isn't bad once it gets fixed and gives you forward acceleration, but right now, when on release, she's not going to be that good. And then she has In Body of Mind, which is just a very weak skill. It's very expensive for a 1.8 second increase for a 0.35. Like, I'm a home stretch chase believer, but I would never spend the skill points to evolve it to, or level it up to In Body and Mind. I don't think she's really hard to train, I think, to like be competitive. So in terms of meta, like, she's not that strong. I don't know why she has focused. Like, you were not running her on front runner. You don't, I guess, actually, wait, no, you need focused because her ultimate. No, actually, no, why does she have focused? Try to like make her sound better than she is. Focus isn't that good on her. Yeah, she also has no recovery. I think that's something I said in my in my review. Like, she's a medium long distance runner without a recovery skill. So even if you wanted to run her during Aoharu, you probably need to borrow or you need to use a right shower so you can get cooldown and swing in Maestro. Her evolve skills I don't think are good either. Yeah. Her evolve skills are pretty mediocre. She's just in terms of meta, she's pretty mediocre with her kit. But yeah, she's just an awkward spot. Like, I don't think she's that strong. All right, is that everything? Oh, right. Nice nature wit. Obviously, at the end of the day, meta is meta. You can always try to run your favorite Uma. Nice nature wit. I feel like I've talked about this card a lot. It's max limit break or bust. You can maybe get around a level 45 one, but like the only consideration you have for this is that race bonus, the 15% race bonus for the third scenario. You're not gonna run you don't get this race bonus until level 45. So like this is unusable in Mant unless you have that. Like, unless you have it at level 45, then it becomes like usable because it has 10%. And then obviously at level 50, it's like one of the best cards you can run in Mant. This is right before the Rico Rice Shower banner. I would much rather you pull on this than Nice Nature Wit. But, there's a big but. Late Surgers, this is basically the only card that carries on your left. She also has really good she has really good events. She gets a mood up, a 10 speed, or you can get a heal for 5 energy. You get a heal from it. And then she guarantees gives you on your left and 10 energy. Her random events are shared with the other ones. You can get the mood up or ramp up, or you can get the 20 energy or the 10 energy. So like she has really good events. Until they fix on your left, it's not that on your left can realistically only be used in miles because the window that it can proc in mediums and longs is just way too high prior to the buff to Late Surgers. But once again, there's only 3 cards that give you on your left. You should never be running this winning ticket card. And the other one is Sakura Laurel. This card does give you on your left, but by the time this comes out in, this is 2 or 1.5 years after, a lot of times you're not even running a stamp card in races. No, you're definitely not running one in miles, and you can probably get away with not running one in mediums, and those two are the ones you probably want on your left in. So Sakura Laurel is just not a good card to run compared to Nice Nature. So I would really only say you want this if the Umas that you want to run like need this skill. Otherwise, I don't think you should pull on it. Like, I would much rather you just dump pulls. If you need to dump pulls into Subverted Manner, I'd much rather you just wait the like couple of like maybe a week at max and pull on Rice Shower Power and Rico. Can you use the pick ticket? No. I don't think you can use the pick ticket. We have like a YouTube video. Actually, let's watch the YouTube video. So we have this YouTube video, which was released 4 years ago, and they scrolled through all of the cards, and Nice Nature Wit is not included. It's in order, so let's just skip towards the end. Like at the bottom here, it's Sweep Tosho and Winning Ticket. So I don't believe that. I mean, unless they change it, obviously. But I don't believe you can use the half anniversary ticket on Nice Nature. When did we get this pick ticket? Yeah, during this banner. You'll get the pick ticket during this banner. So it's the banner right after Nice Nature that you'll get this ticket. Yeah, I think that's everything on this schedule. This is so many items. That took an hour to get through. Yeah, those are the 10 items for October. I'm gonna try to cut that down into like an actual digestible video and post that, but holy, this is so many items for the months. Is the crystal in October? No, the crystal gets released during digital. The crystals were released during digital. So you will have to wait somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks for the crystal.